So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this Friday morning, our last morning together. When I'm with Sangha Life, my perception of time is usually one as where time really speeds by. We had rain, it's pretty cool, so there's change in the weather and in the mood as well. So I wonder how you're doing. Perception of change and beginnings and endings, like we talked about yesterday. Today we're going to talk about two more aspects of perspectives which allow or support this dynamic process of letting go. And before that, just the usual invitation to share anything you would like to share on our week together, any questions you have, any resistances you feel, in the chat box, either during our session or also in the last 20 to 15 minutes, where we are having some time to share with each other there. We're going to talk a bit for the theme for today, on the theme for today, and then we're going to practice together. Okay. So let's dive right in. Yesterday the question came. That is something I'll start with. Someone wrote whether the person understood correctly that the Buddha said that there are 4 aspects that make letting go a dynamic process, not an act of willpower. Yeah, very well understood. And 2 of them we covered yesterday, so this is the question. One is change, anicca, the changeability, and the second one we covered yesterday. Due to the time we have together, we covered them in one, which is nirodha, which is the fading away, the ending of experience. Yeah, to allow things to fade out and allow for experience to come to an end or a transformational point, without the necessity of this gripping. Yeah, so no, if this is gonna end, the heart mind might say, I'm never gonna be happy. Yeah, I'm never gonna be happy. I'm never gonna be fulfilled, satisfied, or whatever. And as it starts to cling, yeah, this is something we can experience with the endings. So to see, and we talked about that yesterday, the beginnings as well, and to see the middles, and to see, look, like Lizzie wrote yesterday, this important reflection of perception on time. Yeah, sometimes time goes very fast. Sometimes time feels tight, sometimes spacious and wide. To look into perception of time is also part of this dynamic, of course. So yesterday we did the change on the endings, and today we're going to do 2 more aspects. They are called, I put you these Pali words into the chat box, but they're really not that important. And we're not doing a Pali exam anytime soon. So there are viraga, and the last one means something like surrender. And we're going to look into these 2. And these would be the four perspectives which support the dynamic, which support the process of letting go. But first, let's remember the statement of the Buddha, which we used as our springboard for this week, which was, nothing is worth clinging to. And I said it sometime during the week. This is a statement which can really feel challenging. Yeah. And it's okay that it feels challenging. I would rather have you dance and grapple with it, rather than just simply accepting and saying, this is what I'm supposed to feel. Yeah. These challenges might be a good thing. Yeah, because if you bring this statement up in moments of clinging and tension and push and pull and say, well, actually the Buddha said nothing is worth clinging to, that might bring up all the resistance and all the stories and all the assumptions and all the beliefs. Your mind is telling you why it's actually really important to cling. Yeah. And then you get something to work with. Saying, oh, interesting, is this true? Yeah. What is the storyline? What is the feeling? Why it's so important to cling and contract around that? And that brings us to our theme of Wednesday. Yeah, only when we listen to our heart minds, why they cling, we can maybe differentiate a need from a storyline, maybe differentiate a need from one specific narrow strategy we choose to follow. Yeah, can we differentiate that? We can maybe see the dukkha underneath the cling, saying, of course, dear heart, you're hurting. Yeah, of course you're hurting, and maybe able to turn towards that. Yeah, rather than just dismissing it, saying, oh, that's not worth clinging to. Go. Yeah. Some people tend to say, well, I cannot see any clinging in my life. And there would be my gentle, very strong encouragement to look a bit deeper. Yes, there might be an absence of coarse clinging in your life, and I'm happy for you that it's this way right now. But there will be the small resistances and the small frustrations and the small, I want it this way, I don't want it that way, I want to be this way, I'm not supposed to be that way. The small, let's say, bumps on the road. Yeah. And while they're natural and normal, this is also the training material. I'd much rather train with the small and containable, the small and not so overwhelming, rather than learning this process of looking into the clinging once it's big and very dynamic. So use the small and everyday resistances and frustrations to look into this theme of clinging, so that you maybe are prepared for other times in life. If you go to a clinging mind and tell it nothing is worth clinging to, you get probably a very strong response. The mind might find this nothing is worth very unattractive or painful or even impossible. Yeah. It will come up with all good reasons why clinging is necessary and makes sense. And there we need to cut our heart mind some slack and say, well, dear heart mind, I can maybe even every now and then get the understanding that you think, dear heart mind, nothing is worth clinging to, means that we give up all hope. Yeah, that we just give up this need, give up this wish, give up this desire, give up this hunger in some form or another. So listen to that. The mind is trapped. It's really trapped. When you tell it nothing is worth clinging to, and it understands that it will then lose and that it will then not be nourished, and that important needs will not be met, it will go surely into resistance. Yeah. And that's okay. I find this actually a very healthy response. So nothing is worth clinging to does not push us into this narrow state of either clinging or losing, either clinging or no change at all, either pushing for the change or no change at all, either clinging or even more misery. Sometimes our heart minds tell us a story of saying, yeah, I know clinging is painful, but that's the only way I see. Letting go of that would be even more miserable. Yeah. And just to notice, oh, there is it again. Once more, black and white, either or. Yeah. So it's not about giving up all hope and giving up all needs and giving up all wishes and desires and goals. It's about finding an appropriate way to relate to this. Yeah. And that is such an important differentiation. And I think the next two perspectives the Buddha suggested, they really support this. They really support this fresh relationship, this fresh perspective. So the first is viraga. And if we look into what the literal sense of viraga means, it's the fading of a color or hue. Something loses its exciting, colorful, alluring appeal. Yeah. I find the concept very V is the going, the dissolving, and raga is this color, hue, and a Western concept very similar to that would be passion. Let's talk about passion, because viraga We often find it translated as dispassion. And that might not be such an attractive concept either. Why should I be dispassionate? I find it interesting. If you look into your passions, there is almost like a double meaning. We have a very twofold way to relate to our passions. On the one hand, we are encouraged to have passion, because we understand passion as a strong engagement, a strong interest, a strong motivation, which carries us over certain obstacles and hindrances and so on. But on the other side, we almost accept that together with this strong engagement and interest and motivation, some suffering will come. And either we tell ourselves or we get it, we see it from or hear it from others, to say, well, that's just the price you pay. Yeah, that's just the price you pay. It's normal for passion to hurt a bit. And there is no field clearer than in love, where we are told we need to be passionate, and love needs to be passionate to be true. And yes, of course, you will suffer a bit because that's just passion. And that I find it very interesting. And whether it's with the children or with the partner or your relationship to your work or whatever it is, they say, yeah, you need to be passionate. I'm passionate and supposed to be passionate a lot of the time. And at the same time, yeah, if that hurts, that's just quite normal. I say, wait a minute. The Buddha would say that nothing is worth clinging to. There is another way to relate, which is sustainable and healthy and open and can accommodate the ups and downs and the changes and the dynamics of any relationship. I'm not always in love with my work, and I'm not always in deep love with my children. But there is underlying something, some continuous line of deep care. I deeply care, but I'm not always passionate. You can't say on a Friday morning after a whole week of school runs that you're deeply passionate. And I will not quench my heart and put pressure on my heart to feel passionate and deeply in love all the time. It's asked too much. Another image in context with viraga, this fading away, was for me an advertisement spot. Our passion, our raga, can exactly be like this word raga sometimes is colorful and exciting, and like advertisement sometimes it's loud and bombarding with intense stimulus. I don't watch TV a lot. We don't have our TV, but when I watch it, they are those advertisement blocks where you get one after the other. And if you don't do it so often, you notice the bombardment. Or if you go into a store and there's the music and there's the scent, and it's just a bombardment on all our senses. And the advertisement spots, whatever it is, whether it's for a new version of you or whether it's for just washing powder, it gives you a colorful, intense impact on the senses. It draws a lovely image. Advertisement comes with a lovely image about who you will be when you use this washing powder, how happy you will potentially be. So it doesn't only sell washing powder, it sells you a new version of yourself. And that goes with the sport, and that goes with the dieting, and that goes with the socializing, and not only a product, but a whole new version of you. And what then happens, and this is one form of where clinging starts, and please think advertisement, very big, very big, friend, advertisement between each other. I can enchant and I can charm someone. Come with me on this trip. We're going to be so happy. It's going to be such a lovely trip when you come. We're doing this little enchantment work of the advertisement with each other a lot of the time. What happens then when the clinging starts? You get a bit mesmerized and enchanted by whatever form of advertisement. We're going to buy into this story a bit, and we're going to start dreaming about, what potentially could happen. And with the good things as well as with the challenging things. I'm just going to put a lot of work in, and I'm going to dedicate a lot of time to the practice, and then these problems will be gone, and my body will not be so this threatened, anxious animal anymore, and I will be so happy. Yeah. So we get mesmerized by these advertisements, and then the clinging and the craving starts, because the stream of who I could be or how my experience could be, it's so beautiful. Yeah, it's all these colors and alluring appeals. The mind starts clinging around it a little bit, saying, "Yeah, I want that. I want that. Yeah, there's a better version of me, a better version of experience than the current one." And then clinging and craving usually starts. Something hardens, something locks in. Now, this idea is locked in. And we pay all kind of costs for that. Yeah, we tend to neglect and forget about other things. That's the first one. We are set on some road, and it consumes us. The interesting thing is that advertisement actually consumes a large part of us. Yeah, because we forget about other things, other tasks, other people's needs. Same happens for me, for example, with the negative stuff. If I'm too locked into a problem or a challenge or an open question in my life or a conflict, even if I'm too locked in, that's an interesting one, in inner perspective, inner work, self-referencing, I will forget a lot about the more than that. Yeah, I will get single-minded, narrow-minded. And we pay price, we get a bit blind for other things. And the intensity as well. Passion can be lovely, but are we aware how much it burdens our system? It burns a lot of energy, it burns a lot of attention, and it goes like the extreme form would be this manic expression where we hype, where we peak, and we feel like we have a lot of energy. What we're really doing is we allow all doors to open, we use all that energy, and then the crash comes. Yeah, we pay the price for that. And we get very reactive when we're in viraga, caught in raga. Yeah, we get reactive to everything which is not according to the advertisement we got. Yeah, I'm just rubbing and I hear many people say, "Oh, this is unfair. Life is not supposed to be this way." Do we have a little underlying advertisement story of what life is supposed to be for us? Yeah. That this sickness, this family situation, that all of this is unfair. Like, can we I would love to write an email to the universe saying, "I did not deserve that." Yeah. And is there a little advertisement somewhere in our narrative of how life should be, that things should be going according to some positive advertising plan? Yeah. And the last thing raga does with us is that we never get a pause. The clinging is so demanding to say, now I have this carrot dangling in front of my eyes, my ears, my nose, whatever it is. I cannot rest, and I cannot give up, and I cannot stop until I have this. And we are much more likely then to experience restlessness or boredom or negativity or anxiety towards how the things are right now, because we dream of a better version of the now. Yeah, the now becomes a little unacceptable. So, why do I say it in so much detail? Because for me, the only way for my mind to start to engage with raga and viraga, with passion and dispassion, was to really see how much it hurts and how much it costs and how much it makes me neglect and other things, and how much it collapses my attention, my precious energy onto one thing. And that my path towards dispassion, this is the translation of viraga, really started by exploring the costs. Yeah. And when I see the costs of this, then I can ask the question again, dear one, loved one, is it really worth clinging to? Yeah. Is there any other way we can relate which takes off some of the burning and the heat, some of the drive and the agitation out of the relationship to this. Yeah. So viraga is not a throwing away of positive relationship or goals or anything like that, but it's asking us to step back into a balanced relationship to experience. It's not the opposite of passionate engagement. It's not indifference or disinterest. For me, it's the image would be, it's not the passion is the wildfire. It's just burning, burning within us, pushing, pulling. And without the raga, viraga would be a stable and patient flame, just a sustainable amount of energy. I care for a problem, I care for a conflict, I do what I can, and then I'm allowing myself to be dispassionate with that. To say, okay, I've done what I could, now I'm allowed to turn away my attention, I'm allowed to remember that there is more to life than that. And sometimes I nudge my attention a bit because it's in this clinging mode still. So quickly, I'm going to go into meditation upon the last aspect, which is surrender. Again, I believe that surrendering isn't a process and not something we can make happen. I can't say I just surrender. The interesting dynamic of surrender usually is that we fight for something, that we push for something, that we try to change something, that we try to even accept something, until we do not have any other options anymore, or simply lack the energy. That I see with a lot of people. The surrender comes when we have spent all our energy and we can't continue fighting, avoiding, or pausing. We can't hold the energy up anymore. And the tragic thing with this form of surrender is that it usually feels like defeat. You were fighting, pushing for something, avoiding something. And when you can't maintain this energy anymore, you crash and it feels like defeat. There is some aspect of surrender in it, but the defeat is like, I couldn't make it happen. The surrender might feel blissful to say, okay, I give up, I stop the fighting. But because it's not a conscious decision, but actually feels like, or is a breakdown of some sorts, we might suffer from it. We might even feel guilty. Whereas this conscious permission to ourselves to say, I'm going to surrender, feels quite differently. A clinging mind easily will equal surrender to defeat. That's exactly the either or. Either I get what I want or I'm defeated. To say, let me allow to surrender. And what I find very interesting in this process of surrender is that it actually offers options for change. But before that, I almost need to work through the hypers, this over importance of the self, which always says, if I try hard enough, I can control, I can change myself, this experience, the body, whatever it is. And because the I is so important, it continues pushing, it continues working. And so defeat might feel like I cannot control anything, I'm helpless, I'm overwhelmed, and feel very small and very vulnerable as well. But I believe surrender is somewhere in the middle, where the self gets back to a question of saying, I can't control this fully, I can change this fully, but I can make contributions to suffering less, contributions towards a change which I think would be helpful and supportive. So this is what happens when I surrender. Usually there is the crash due to the defeat, but when we've overcome this surrendering state allows me to ask a different question. Not what do I need to do, what do I need to do to control, to change, but rather a more humble question. Surrender and humbleness go together, to say, what can I contribute? And to be very well aware of the limits of that. Okay, enough for this morning. viraga, and surrender. Let's go and meditate with that. Find yourself a seat, or lie down, or stand up. And then we're going to give our bodies some tender love and care. And if the body is not a safe place for you this morning, please choose whether you want to go to the hearing, into the looking, into feeling just the spaciousness around you. And we're already sitting probably for half an hour, so maybe some movement and some question to the body. How do you want to sit, to lie down? Do I need to stretch anything or move anything for you, dear body? And when you settled in, there is enough movement done, and you could, of course, continue just like rocking backwards and forwards or shifting your weight. When you get the feeling of, okay, enough, I would actually appreciate some stillness, some less doing. When you come into a still posture, relatively still. And we're going to meet and create and invite different parts of our bodies to soften, to give up some of the tension they're storing. But we want to do so with a dispassionate attitude. What that means is you will touch different areas of your body with your awareness, and they will have stories to tell. Pleasant stories and unpleasant stories. And you're just going to listen for a while. And then bring some warm and caring attention there, saying, yeah, may you be well, dear shoulder. May you find ways to soften and relax. And then you go on. Even if it's not perfect, you made your little contribution of warm, caring attention to that aspect of the body. So we start with our feet. Good morning, dear feet. And when you feel into them, you might notice some of the story they're telling through the bodily experience. Pleasant, unpleasant, neutral stories. And you might just want to listen for a few moments. And then just invite them to your feet. If you're ready, you could soften a little bit. When there's any tension, you're ready to let go. Or you're allowed to be heavy and soft and warm. And that's enough. We go to our calves and we do the listening. And then we invite the calves to soften, be heavy or spacious. And move on. Thank you, dear calves. Hello, dear upper legs. How are you doing this morning? This, if it can be sometimes with people, sometimes the body has intense stories to tell, a lot to tell. Can you find some safety in knowing that your job is only to listen? You do not need to manage or improve. You do not need to know how to do things better. It's really enough just to listen and feel into the parts of your body. May you be well, dear legs. And then you feel into your hips. Sitting or lying or standing. And after listening for a while, send out this invitation, this encouragement. Dear lovely hips, may you be well. May you be able to soften and let go whatever you don't need to hold any longer. And then we shift, and if shifting feels like, well, disloyalty, feels like moving away and letting alone something, maybe you can bow. Say, yeah, dear hips, thank you for showing. I shall be back. And now I'll take care of the next one coming in. Dear belly, dear lower back, good morning to you. May you too, dear belly, dear lower back, find ways to soften and be relaxed. May some of the tension leave. And coming to the upper body, chest area, back area, just listening. Can you every now and then encourage this easy way of listening, easy way of being in touch with your body? May you, dear chest area, dear upper and middle back, may you be well. May you have spaciousness and broadness and be able to let go of some of the tension, ready to go, ready to leave. And shifting, moving into shoulders and arms. And sometimes, especially here, there is tension, yes, and it's unpleasant, yes. Out your shoulders, you're carrying a lot of the burden of life, of the echo of life. To acknowledge that. Then very calmly reminding yourself that listening to this, being present for it, is already a gift made by your attention to your body. It's enough. Just listen, feeling, paying attention. And then the invitation to soften, to let go whatever is possible right now. No pressure on you or the body to know how to get rid of everything. Finally, we come to the head and the face, listening to these stories. Dear face, dear head, may you be well. May you allow to rest and have pauses from interaction and expression, just being there, just softening. And now that you practice this attitude of dispassionate listening, dispassionate presence, which is not turning away in indifference, but holding stable, sustainable space for something. Is there anything in life, anything within your body which is not too overwhelming? To notice, to re-invite into consciousness and see whether you can hold it with the same calm, listening approach. You might notice how that ouch in your life makes all kind of tasks and demands upon you. Change me, do something about me. And just for now, can you surrender? Say, I don't know at the moment. I don't know what the right thing to do is. I maybe don't know what to do or where to start. And I just allow for this open question mark to be there. I don't know. But I can listen. And then we gently bow to that theme, which might still be unsolved, still be there, and have some appreciation for ourselves, for the courage to turn towards that, for the willingness to listen and be present with it. It's a gift you made. Imperfect gift you made. And then we gently start moving, rocking, stretching, sighing, yawning. And when you feel ready, you come back to the screen. Okay. So during meditation, something came up which I'd like to share. Maybe you already thought about it. Here we have the passion, and then we have the word compassion. And compassion is actually one other field where this careful listening without raga, without the over-engagement, over-involvement is so, so healthy. So a dispassionate compassion, how would that look like? Okay, enough about me, or from me. What about you? How did you experience this morning or this week? Anything which stands out is helpful, or any open questions, loose ends which you would like to clarify upon? feel free to share. And Ruth asks, is raga connected to the musical raga in Indian music? Ruth, I'm not an expert on that. Potentially it is, because the raga word is coming from the ancient Sanskrit, so I would assume that there is a connection, but I'm lacking the expertise on the Indian music. Okay. Wolfgang is writing, the ultimate metaphysical secret, if we were to state it so simply, is that there are no boundaries in the universe. Boundaries are illusions, products not of reality, but of the way we map and edit reality. And while it is fine to map out the territory, it's fatal to confuse the two. Yeah, that is one thing the mind does a lot, doesn't it? It boxes me into who I am. It boxes things into concepts and other peoples and dynamics in the world. And I would not be too overly dismissive of it, because I think this is how our mind works. It gives it a lot of safety. It gives it a lot of structure. So I'm not a big fan of saying there is another either or potential in this, to say trying to live without all boundaries and all concepts. Sounds to me like another either or principle as well. But to see through them, and to see that these are constructs we use and frameworks we use, and that they're not the truth about things, but something actually like a tool. Yeah, and maybe this gives me a more easy approach, also in the everyday mundane, where we use a lot of boundaries and concepts to be true. Yeah, thank you, Wolfgang. Lynn is writing, thank you for a beautiful week. I always am glad to sit with you. Yeah, me too. Yeah, and well, much love to the Sangha, which is a beautiful one for sure. Great, thank you, Lynn. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? I'm going to do the reminder on the Dharna. We will sing a link at the end of the session, and if you can support Sangha Life and myself, I very much appreciate your support. Thank you. So Ruth is commenting on Wolfgang's statement. I experiencing mapping as the opposite, rather knowing fully the Dharma and how it all connects so that freedom is possible. Yeah, it's through concepts that we actually express the concept less. So isn't this a lovely paradox to say we can't do the one without the other? I don't know whether I shared that with you, that I had once contact with a young man who was knowing these limitations about concepts and words, and this can be so frustrating, can't it? That it's always like too elusive to be boxed into little words, and he tried to express without words, and lost his language sort of, and it was very, very sad to see actually, and it made me embrace the words and to say they were an imperfect, incomplete tool, but it's our way also to connect and, for example, transmit the Dharma. Yeah, great, thank you. Heidi is saying, I'm struggling with a situation with my landlord who is not acting rightly. I cannot use my back door to get into my garden. It's been this way for weeks. Yeah, my heart mind feels trapped, and I don't know how to work with many difficult feelings. Sounds silly and trivial, but it has been caught. And it doesn't sound silly and trivial at all. I think that is the stuff we're all working with. And a beautiful example. Nothing's worth clinging to. Does this mean you should let go of your back garden door and just, I don't know, hop over the fence or something? Of course not. Yeah, of course, working towards the back garden door, and in the meantime become a bit while you do that. Yeah, and find ways to arrange that and communicate with your landlord, which can be pretty challenging. To become also a bit dispassionate about it, so that the back door to the garden doesn't become overly central and overly impactful on how you feel about yourself and how you feel about life and all the emotions that come with it. Maybe that's the bringing it back into a middle way. I wonder, Heidi, whether you find any that this relates to the challenge you're going through. Elizabeth is writing, listening to my body brought feelings of panic and sadness. Yes, with quickening breathing. Just wishing these parts of my body well feels very helpful, and I'm left with the sadness. Beautiful, Elizabeth. Now, if this happens, and this can happen for some of us, and for all of us under certain situations and circumstances, go quicker. Just listening in quickly, and never listen so long that it becomes overwhelming. Yeah, you can go very quickly, in a very quick pace through the body, and then just like listen, wishing, and then something might calm down, just like you described over the weeks, months. Beautiful. Katie's asking, where does your wisdom come from? I experience such a freshness of perception when I listen to you. Katie, I have no clue where it comes from. Sometimes it's not mine, it's not me, and it's not who I am that I can say. I have a very question-asking mind, and I appreciate my resistances. Whenever there is a resistance, there is a question to explore, and that is something I encourage you to do as well. Appreciate your resistances, because there might be wisdom in the resistance. Yeah. Janie is writing, thank you for that somatics journey, focusing and walking with all of the emotional pain. I'm able to cry and reflect on loss of my daughter, Holly, who ended her life in 2018. There is some realization of that tightening and shame she may have been experiencing. Oh, Janie, yeah. My compassion and my sense of care flows out to you, and the Sangha does so too. I see that. And it's lovely. It's lovely to have a space safe enough, and thank you all for providing that. That this which has been stuck because it has been probably too overwhelming and too intense can start flowing again. Yeah. And that is a form of clinging gently, dissolving. That is a form of letting go. And here we see maybe an example for the needs of appropriate circumstances and caring community that such things can happen. So I'd be happy, Janie, for you to find such possibilities again, and gently and slowly heal in that process. Thank you. Catherine is writing, I came across the idea of aditana, resolution, this week, recognizing the potency of a firm heart. I aspire to hold intentions that are enriching and to ward off vacillation on the one hand and forceful goal seeking on the other. Yeah, beautiful. Here we have almost like the intentional qualities which allow us to walk on that middle path. Yeah, neither the giving up, yeah, and the surrender and the lethargy, nor the overemphasis, yeah, of having control, having that the quality in the middle way. Yeah, so I viraga was the one word which I wanted to give you, and the other one is a very long, interesting one, which I have a hard time to remember. You will see why. Okay, these are the two words, and this is still from the discourse I shared on Monday. Anyone having still something to share? What are your takeaways from this week? Thank you, Nita, for your kind message. I love the word firm heart, because it reminds me of not this overly passionate heart, not a dropped heart, but actually this stable flame. Like, what can I do to have a stable flame which burns sustainably, yeah, for certain things. Yeah. Thank you, Heidi. Now, Heidi Dixon is writing, thank you for a wonderful week. New perspectives now to let go of letting go. Yeah, to have a new relationship to letting go, and hopefully that settles in nicely with the other teachers teaching on letting go, is that you have like many helpful perspectives on this theme by the end of the month. Great. Claudia is writing, do you have thoughts on how to apply the four perspectives helpful to letting go with the body? I feel a lot of clinging actually happens in my tissues that are telling the same old stories over and over. Yes, that is so interesting how much of the work we're actually doing is somatic work. And there is a nice little interference between actually thinking about things or taking on new perspectives, and how a new perspective, like which feels like something very cognitive, can then resonate into the body. So I think it's still all interlinked. Perceiving change, a deep perception of change, like we did yesterday, might resonate something with the body. Might bring something back to the body. The encouragement to not be so, or to notice the clinging and the pain of something, and to actually give myself permission and to say that is not necessary, might again change something within the body. So this is as much as I can say right now. It would be lovely to come back and do somatic works on this theme. We'll see. Natalie's writing, thank you for your beautiful and wise teaching this week. Lots of new understanding around the topic of letting go. Letting it gently sink into my heart. Yes, wonderful, Natalie. Not drumming it in, but actually my impression is that the heart mind only picks up as much as it can understand and has capacity to take in at the moment. So to go out of Sangha live sessions and say, I have learned enough, and whatever is supported will come, I find a very easy perspective to take. Yeah. Gwen is writing, I like the idea of surrender rather than feeling powerless, a conscious choice. Thank you, Ulla. Okay, yeah, I found it to rethink the concept of surrender can be a tremendously helpful thing. To really know how to distinguish it from defeat is great, yeah. Thank you, Gwen, for sharing that. Okay, dear ones. Thank you so much for all your comments and your contributions over the week. It enriches these weeks so tremendously that you participate and share. I hope you go well, that we see each other again sometime on the screen, or if you like personal support or be in contact, there are also offers of one-to-one sessions. You can look into that. Here is my email address, just in case someone wants to be in contact. Yeah, and I'm going to see you after the summer break again and do some more teaching with you. And we'll see what theme we then choose. I have still a few ideas like willpower and needs, but also somatic work in the back of my mind. We'll see. So many thanks to all of you being here. Have a lovely day. Enjoy your weekend. And yeah, see you soon.